Hey team. So my husband's a hero.
My toe is fine. Let's just start with that. And also, hero is like very overselling it.
Your toe is mostly... Well, from my perspective, you ran downstairs, ran out the door without shoes, without your coat, and it was like 20 degrees out, and then you ran back in, grabbed a handful of treats, and then left again.
So here's what happened from my perspective. I was shutting down my laptop after working at home, and I look out the window, and there's just a dog trotting down the street with, like, no lead or person around them. And I'm like, that's not right. I should go see if that's okay. But, like, the dog was, like, trotting, so I was just like, okay, I've got, like, 2 houses before the dog's just, like...
Beautiful husky. Giant husky.
A full breed husky, whereas ours are mixes, so they're smaller. This one's like full size.
Yeah, this is a fluffy boy.
So I run outside, and it ended up me, trying to... First, I called him over, and he does come into our yard and up to our porch, but he wouldn't come up on the porch, even though I was offering treats. He wanted to play chase.
Yeah.
So, at this point, our neighbor's also getting home from work. So we kind of did a pincher maneuver, and eventually in the woods, 2 blocks away, behind someone's house, I was able to get my hands on him, because he doesn't... This guy, he doesn't have, like, a collar on or anything. He just has, like, a bandana. So I'm just like, okay, I hope he's friendly, and I pick him up.
Well, and a bandana means definitely has a family.
Yeah.
You know, not just a stray or whatever.
So, and it's also, this is winter. So this is, it is freezing cold out. I am wearing not the correct shoes.
At least you had shoes. When you first ran out, you didn't.
I mean, I was working from home. I was lucky to have pants on.
Fair.
So then I'm in the woods behind someone else's house, trudging out with this dog in my arm, like just like friendly beast, and just like at that point tired. So it's just like, yeah, whatever, man. So I'm just carrying this dog who's like 50 pounds for like 3 blocks home through the woods where the floor is also sometimes ice, and that part goes pretty well. Then I get to in front of our house where our large cement block stoop, and in my not good shoes, and because I'm moving quickly, I full force kick the stoop with my right big toe.
Yep.
But yeah, I managed to, I don't drop the dog doesn't get loose, I get the dog to the porch, we introduce that dog slowly to our dogs while we're just like, what do we do now?
Mm-hmm. I'm looking around like, this dog can jump the fence that we have. We do not have the space for this third dog, I want this giant third dog, but this is not our dog.
Everyone was having a grand time, but we were just like, you know, trying to figure stuff out. So, you know, he's sniffing at the food dish, and our dogs are sniffing at him, and he's like finding his way around the house, and you know, sometimes he's maybe a little too friendly with the girls at times. We do have to separate them at some point because
they are extremely pretty.
Roxy is not a fan of anyone doing that to her.
No, well, she knows that no means no.
Yes.
She stands up for herself.
Yeah. Very
good girl.
So, we call, there's a vet hospital nearby, I call them, and the neighbor posts online that we found a dog, I post pictures, you know, in the local communities being like, dog found, is this your dog, call me. And meanwhile, I'm also calling the local vet to be like, hey, I found a dog. It doesn't have any tags or identifying marks. Can I bring it in to find out if they're chipped? And they're like, yeah, anytime. So I take the dog into the vet. He's very good in the car. A little, like, we had a spare
harness and leash?
Not harness. We had the collar that we can't use because our huskies slip out. But he abided the collar.
Yeah, our huskies do not.
So he's in the back seat on the dog thing, just having a grand old time, nose out the window, like, need a little help into the car. And then we get there, and he's so eager to get out, like, I open my door, and he jumps in the front seat to get down, and I'm just grabbing the leash, like, not again. We're too close to the highway for this shit. But he's good on the leash. We go in, and I explain the situation, and, you know, I'm talking to our neighbor on text because he's getting people's information, people who think they might know the dog owner.
And he's invested at this point.
Yeah.
He needs to know what happens to this dog.
Yeah. Because his perspective, we were both chasing a dog. I picked it up, carried it home. He doesn't know what's going on.
The dog's his now, I guess. Yeah.
So they scan it. The first chip reader doesn't come up anything. The second chip reader does come up. And they go on the computer. And the way it works is that if I get information, they can confirm it. But they can't tell me information about the chip owner. So they can't give me phone numbers. They can call the number and be like, hey, do this. The phone number associated is old and out of order. But
Unhelpful.
But I'm getting information via text from our neighbor. And he sends me a name, and I confirm the name with them. And then he sends me a number, and I call them, and I go, hi, I think I have your dog.
Yeah.
So I'm on the phone with them, and I'm just like, hey, I'm at the emergency thing. Where do you want to meet? How do you want to do this? And, what they decided is, could you just bring him home? I'm like, yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
So
we have the technology.
Yeah. I thank the vet people. I drive the dog home. They're super happy to have him back. He's super happy to be home. He's wagging. He's just pleased as punch that he got out and had his adventure. He apparently had only been loose for about an hour.
Just booked it.
Yeah.
And he was not a young dog, apparently.
He was 11, 12 years old?
And still running around and energetic.
I mean, I'm not going to say I'm in the best shape. I think the neighbor's in better shape, but it did take two of us to chase him down. So.
That's true.
Luckily, we're persistence predators. Because I wasn't going to give up chasing that dog. I was just...
Little wolf. Little domesticated wolf.
So then everyone's happy, and the family's like, oh, I wish I could pay you. I was like, I would not accept your money. Just... This is not something I did to be like, oh, I hope I get rewarded. This is just I'd be super sad if my dog got out. I'd be worried sick. I'm glad that he's okay and he's home. So then I get home from that.
Yeah.
Because we still have to go do things. So we went and did errands afterwards because we had to go to the grocery store, we had to go to the pharmacy, and things were closing pretty soon because this is kind of thrown off our schedule. Our schedule was going to be go after work, and this had added an hour and a half onto stuff. So we go and do all that. We get home from that. We eat dinner. And I go, well, my toe still hurts. I take off my shoe, and my sock is soaked in blood.
Yep. It was really concerning.
I'm just like, not great.
Yeah, trying to figure out, is your toe broken?
I was like, I don't think it's broken. It's not that kind of painful, but I definitely messed it up. And I took it off, and underneath the nail is turning colors. Mm-hmm. And you can see, and immediately I'm just like, I'm going to lose the nail.
Yeah.
It might not be right now, but I'm going to lose this nail.
Yeah.
So we ice it, we keep it elevated. I think I came home from work the next day early because my foot hurt.
Yeah, you did.
And then
walking sucked.
Yeah. And I think it was 5 days later that the nails started. Let's put a trigger warning in. If you don't like hearing about body horror, turn this off. Yeah. Because I felt like I was doing my own Saw movie.
It looked like it too, and you looked like you were going to keel over. I thought I was going to have to catch you and maybe call somebody.
So the toe was the toe was getting better, but there was definitely a pain around the nail as it was trying to release from the skin.
Yeah, and you were trying to keep it clean.
That was getting worse, and I was calling foot doctors who were like, "Oh, we'll make you an appointment for a month." And I'm just like, that's not helpful. No. At this point, I had actually on this day, it was another day I had to come home from work early because I couldn't elevate my foot at work.
Right.
And I had borrowed one of your canes just to get around because walking sucked.
Yeah.
Standing for too long sucked, sitting for too long sucked. And I knew the nail was gonna come off. It just everything I read said have a doctor do it. It's better if a doctor does it. You don't know how to do it.
Yeah. Although all of our friends who have all apparently lost toenails at some point or another was like, no, it'll come off on its own.
It kinda did.
Yeah.
So here's where it gets gross. So on this night, I'm checking it out, and I'm poking it to see where it is, and the back of the nail, the closest part to the rest of the foot, that part's come off, but it's still connected on the sides.
Yeah.
But not very securely. So I'm like, okay, we're going to do this cowboy style. And I go in the bathroom with a pair of pliers.
You sure did.
It's nauseating to feel like yourself move your insides around a little bit. And
yeah.
You can, so I'm tugging at the nail gently enough to not shatter it, but forcefully enough to break it free of the skin. And you're watching me do this, and I'm like hunched over.
You also handed me part of it, because you got part of it off before the rest of it, and you just, like, you handed it to me. There was a tissue involved, but, like, oh my god.
I was like, I don't remember no, it was in the tissue, yeah.
Yeah, and I threw it out, and I was trying not to hurl, because, like, that'd be rude.
Yeah. So...
My poor husband.
So I get the toenail fully off. So I got through my saw trap. Like, do you appreciate your life enough to tear off your toenail? Yeah, apparently.
Yeah.
And the good news is, because I had an appointment for the next day to go to the doctor, so I got to cancel that and save myself some money. I also called in the work the next day because my foot still hurt and wanted to keep it elevated.
Mm-hmm. You got through it.
I got through it, and then we disinfected it, we bandaged it up, I laid down, and I was just like, that was a bad time. Still worth it to save the dog, but yeah, my toenail is currently growing back.
Yeah, you've got like a pseudo nail.
Yeah, the top of it became harder than normal skin, I guess as a protective measure, and you can see the toenails starting to grow out in the edge again.
So also, something.
Yeah, it was quite the experience to have. I had never lost a nail before. I had been injured, but not in that way, and it was I do not recommend.
No, and your toenail is not small.
My toenail's the size of it's bigger than a quarter.
Yeah, I was just thinking this must be so much harder to remove this. This is like an amputation at this point. It seemed a lot.
I think I scale with my toenails. I just have a large toenail, so it wasn't hard to come off. It was just uncomfortable to come off, and certainly I was just
It
just
looked like you were
in the bathroom with the pliers. I'm just this is a horror movie.
Yeah, it looked like you were going to go into shock.
I was probably very pale, but
yeah,
because it wasn't comfortable. I didn't like it. Made me feel kind of queasy.
Yeah,
but I did it. It needed to be done.
You performed surgery on yourself.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it turned out fine.
Turned out fine, and you got the doggy back home.
Yeah.
Back to his family.
Yeah. Everyone was happy. I just had to keep my foot elevated for a couple of days.
Yeah. And now you're okay.
Yeah.
Sans toenail.
So, if you ignored the trigger warning, I'm sorry. Rock on.
Rock on.